Hello. This is Dina, and I'm excited, and we're gonna do a really cool fucking video. It's gonna be about how to be more productive while I draw at the same time. Yes, I know that I sing out of tune, but I don't care. Cause I'm just trying to be myself on the internet. Be myself on the internet. Do you want to know how to make more time to do everything in your art business? Boom, boom, boom. Yes, I see you, Nancy Palm. Thank you for being the first person in the chat. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. What's up, Don? How are you? Come on over. We're getting ready to do a live stream and talking about productivity. Ooh. Anyone who, I think about this all the time, like anyone who's like listening to this in the future on YouTube is probably like, what is wrong with this girl? Is she okay? Why is it that the first 5 minutes of her videos are starting soon? Screen. Awkward. What's up, Dane Dodge? What's up, guys? Hi. How are you? What's up? Look at my dogs. Look, they're so cute. Look at them. Shh, I don't want to interrupt them. They know that I'm talking about them. Oh, they're gonna keep doing it. What's up, guys? How are you? How is life? All right, so welcome. I'm just checking out the YouTubes to make sure we're not having any more like remixes of our live stream, because sometimes OBS is an asshole. It doesn't like to work properly. All right, I'm excited. Let's get into it. All right, so hey guys, I'm Dina Rodriguez, and we're doing yet another weekly live stream, where I have my patrons over at patreon.com/lettershop give me suggestions on the kind of things that artists like you and me are having struggles with, so that way I can help you guys more personally, because I can try to guess what you're having a hard time with, but it's so much easier if you just tell me, right? So I went ahead, I did a poll, I went ahead and sent out a bunch of questions earlier this week to my $7 patrons, and they decided, they voted. And what we ended up tackling today is all about productivity, and more specifically, like how you're able to get more done in less time, so that way you can kind of stop freaking out and stop burning out about your art business. Because yes, there's a lot of shit we have to do. Man, it seems never ending. Mostly because we all look at Instagram like a little too much, but that's, that's here nor here there. So obviously, there's a bunch of things you have to do if you're trying to be a professional artist, more than just creating work and posting it on Instagram. You have to figure out what your marketing strategy is, who your audience is, like how you're actually going to get said customers and clients to your website to give you money. A lot of people don't think about that. Email marketing, whether that's your funnel of choice, or you're just using social media, or maybe you have a blog of some kind. You're creating some sort of content to get people's attention. That takes a lot of time, and most likely it's going to be free, so you're not being paid for creating all this free content in order for you to get a following, in order to actually ask them for money. So that's just a lot of work in itself. But then there's also all these things like admin, right? If you're working with clients, you have some sort of onboarding strategy, right? An onboarding process. Someone reaches out, they're like, hey, how much do you cost? And you're like, well, I need quite a bit of information before I can give you that, sir. And then you ask them a bunch of questions, and they take 2 weeks to reply or something like that. And that shit takes time. All those like 10-minute emails, that stacks up to a couple of hours worth of time. Not to mention like writing proposals and then actually getting to the production work that hopefully you've been getting paid for. Not to mention just like trying to be a person and that like eats and sleeps and spends some time with their loved ones, hopefully, so you don't go fucking crazy, and so that way you are more of a well-rounded person, and you have this thing called work-life balance that I keep hearing people talking about. So I want to be able to get into it, set more realistic expectations for our productivity, actually have a game plan for how we can organize our time, how I personally stay organized, my formula. Like I literally have like a secret fucking formula, guys, about how I'm able to get shit done on a weekly basis. And if you know me, if you followed me previously, you know I do a lot of shit. I run 2 patrons, both for my personal brand Letter Shop and for my podcast and web series Women of Illustration. I do client work. I do 3 to 5 client projects a month. I just created a new book that'll be releasing soon. I just created 12 different posters for a poster launch. I just created an entire, like, I don't even know, 16 hours worth of lecture for a social media course that's going to be going live soon. That's a lot of stuff. So I know you might be looking at me and my productivity and be like, Dina, you're crazy. You must never sleep. You must have no friends. I don't have friends, but that's not why I'm so productive. I'm working on that, guys. How are you able to get all this stuff? How are you able to complete all this? Well, a lot of it is a lot of planning, and I'm doing actually work and then not posting or talking about it for a week or two. So that's one of my secrets. I just wanted to jump right in and give you one. Like right now, this is my off week, for example, for social media. Even though I posted twice this week, one was literally a screenshot of a tweet. Wow, that did not take long. And one was a impromptu video of me singing, because why not? That's super art related. Anyways, I take a week off so that way I can be posting more consistently later on. So I just wanted to start with a little secret tip that I do before we get into today's crazy long 1 hour live lecture where I will take a week off to create content for the rest of the month. And I like to be posting once a day, Monday through Friday, typically. And I do that because I feel less pressure to go ahead and just take a week off and not post. Because if you're not posting on places like Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, you're not going to lose any followers for the most part, because people need to see you post to remember that they don't like you to unfollow you. So if you just take a break, usually no one fucking cares. So that way I'm able to feel better and more consistent about the work that I am able to put out. And I don't feel as stressed out like, holy shit, I need to get this piece done by 10 a.m. because that's the best time for my engagement. So let me go quickly post this on Instagram. Holy shit, I gotta wake up at 5 a.m. just to finish this piece. No, I don't want to do that. It stresses me the fuck out. It makes me burn out. I don't like it. So that's just one strategy that works for me. Natalie's here. What's up? What's up, girl? What's up, Paige? Hey, guys. Welcome, welcome. So we're going to do something a little bit different today. I'm currently trying to figure out if I need another monitor or not, because I have a lot of shit on my desktop. Okay, so we're changing it up. I want to do something. Whoa. Don't worry. Oh, wait, you can't see that. Just kidding. I just clicked on something. All right. I'm getting organized. It's happening. Okay. So I'm doing something a little different today where I thought, hey, it's kind of a little boring. Like, even though I have my notes planned ahead of a time to talk about productivity with you guys, but I feel like just a talking head with Dina making lots of unnecessary hand movements might be a little boring to watch. Although I do highly recommend that anyone who watches these live streams in the future definitely treat them like a podcast. Work along with me, hang out with me, be my friend on the internet, and so that way you can get shit done while I talk about helping you get more shit done. But for those of you who do like to stare at my beautiful face, I have an option for you that I'm really excited to try to do today. Are you ready? Oh, Dina's gonna try to draw at the same time of giving you this lecture. So that way you get something pretty to look at, right? We all know process takes a long fucking time. So it's, it's something good to look at. It's going to take probably longer than this live stream to finish, but hey, whatever. And it's super on topic because the phrase that I decided to draw today was, stop feeling like a failure for not getting enough done. I went ahead and did everything in the same style. For those of you who don't know me, super into lettering. Lettering is my jam. So every week when I do these live streams, I want to have a phrase or an illustration that coincides with it. So that way, I don't know, I just feel like that makes more sense, right? To do a live lecture about art while drawing art. I thought it was a good idea. You guys let me know in the chat and in the future. Okay, so let's first talk about why we need to organize our time as I choose a brush to go ahead and ink this. So number one, let's just get right into this phrase, right? The main reason you need to be organizing your time is because you don't always plan. And it makes you feel like a failure because you're either burnt out because you've done too much, or the end of the day passes and you still feel like you haven't done enough. There is a middle ground in there, guys, that we can go ahead and actually be happy and feel good about what we were able to do without feeling like an angry fucking monster when we get home or when we close that office door to spend time with our family. Because I've definitely been there. Like, I work too much and I'm just fucking furious. And I don't know why. I have no patience. So when I'm coming in with my family to have, like, dinner or something, I'm such a bitch. I'm in a bad mood. And the only thing that's going to cure it is time doing nothing and being really fucking selfish. And sometimes spending time with family is not the answer to that problem. So for me, that's always been my biggest issue. It's just that I try to do too many things at once. I have shiny object syndrome, right? So I want to do like 10 things in a week. And then by the time Wednesday comes around, I've added like 10 more things, which that makes no sense. So obviously we need to have a better plan here because this process ain't working for me. All right. Number 2 is you're going to burn out, and you're going to be burning out all the time, right? And every single time you burn out, the second time, the third time, the fourth time, it's going to take you longer and longer to get back at it. It's so fucked up. I really, really hate it. And I lost the chat. Where did the chat go? Oh, I found you. It was hiding over here. So Paige is asking, do I use Smarter Queue for the week you're not posting? I don't know what that is. Is that some sort of app of some kind? The kind of social media scheduling apps I've used is like, I tried Hootsuite when social media scheduling became like a thing. Don't really like it. I don't actually know if it's around anymore. Then I used Buffer, which is okay. But now my number one app recommendation for social media scheduling is Later. I really like it. There's a free version. You guys can try it out. You get a preview of your grid. It gives you hashtag suggestions. It tells you when's the best time to post. So that you're just guessing, like, oh, I guess Instagram native analytics are saying 9 a.m. is the best time every single day, Monday through Sunday. That's totally correct. It's nice to get a little bit more specific. Like, oh, 9:15. Oh, on Wednesdays, it's a little later. It's like 10:30. That's really nice information to know. And you can schedule it just a bunch for the week. The upcoming week, right? All right, I found my pen. So as always, for those of you that are curious, I always draw digitally using an iPad Pro and Apple Pencil. I use a program called AstroPad, which will become obsolete in a few months, which I'm kind of excited about. So that way I can screen mirror Photoshop to my iPad. With the new iPad, you can run full Photoshop. Still not sure if I'm going to get the new iPad. Still don't know if I can run full Photoshop on this iPad. But if I can, buy AstroPad. Never going to use you. But I am considering getting a Cintiq because I'm trying to go more PC. Not like politically correct personal computer, like more Android. Not so much Apple because they pissing me off. Okay, so these things all suck, right? We're doing too many things at once, which means you kind of suck at everything. And you can totally tell when someone's just sucking at everything. They're doing a lot of things. They seem really scatterbrained. There's no sort of organization. Monday, there's a promotion. Wednesdays, there's like a totally different promotion. And there is something called promotion fatigue, pitch fatigue, where you're telling your audience too many things. It's like, hey, I'm doing this, and this, and this, and this, and oh, and follow here, and here's this contest, and this is this thing. You're showing to your audience that you have no idea what the fuck you're doing, man. Seriously. When you are scatterbrained like this, and you're constantly like, you're just like, oh, I should probably promote this thing today without actually thinking about it in advance, like, you're not going to get anywhere. Because you need to go ahead and you need to build up kind of that rule of reciprocity, where it's like, hey, you follow, let's use Instagram as an example. You follow me on Instagram, right? Because you like my content, right? It makes you feel something, it's relatable, you emotionally connect with it in some way, or if it just makes you feel good, right? Or if you're a fellow artist, maybe it's inspirational to you as well, right? That's the point. So I'm creating all this content that's free, right? To try to attract a following so people can come in. So you don't want every single post in a week or even 2 or 3 posts in a week to be promotional. You really need to be creating like a week's worth of content and then maybe have one promotion. And then when you do have that one promotion, make sure whatever's the best time to post for the entire week, you save for that promotion. Because anytime you talk about money or ask for money on Instagram specifically, it's just never going to do well as free content. That's just, I mean, sometimes if you're like a marketing genius and you like take my social media class, I can help you with that stuff. But in the meantime, just be prepared anytime you're asking for money. Of course, it's not going to do as well because people like free stuff over paid stuff, right? So it's just like, oh, there's all these things, reasons. We don't want to be waiting for the last minute for promotions, right? We need to be having a plan of attack ahead of schedule so that we can plan better for like, hey, Christmas is coming up. Well, the deadline for shipping for my products would probably be like the 15th of December in order to get there by Christmas. So that means I need to have all of my art and my prints ready by like late October. So that way I give people a nice 2-month buffer to buy my products in time for Christmas and for themselves. Like, you have to think about what your goal is, figure out what your production time is, and then go back and then figure out how many months in advance you need to be creating that product. Because we tend to do the opposite. We're like, hey, I have this idea, it's so exciting. I'm going to work on it tomorrow and fuck all the other things on my to-do list. And I'm just going to fucking go for it. I'm just going to do... And then it ends up not doing well. And then you're like, fuck, I'm trying this, and this, but it's not getting me anywhere. It's because you're not fucking planning it. Stop riding by the seat of your butthole, your pants. I don't know. I felt butthole was funnier. Don't ride by the seat of your pants and just do what the fuck you want. Like, just think about it a little bit. Even if it's something like every Monday, I'm planning my schedule for the week, or every first of the month, I'm planning my schedule for that month. A lot of us tend to only, like, we're lucky if we could plan 24 hours before we post something, and we need to be doing a little bit better than that. Just a little bit better, you guys. I'm trying to figure out how to have the chat open at the same time. It's very, very, very frustrating. Okay, where's my Apple Pencil? I've been streaming for 22 minutes, and I have had yet to start drawing on anything. All right. I pretty much already have a rough draft of this. I use like pencil brushes for this kind of thing, and now I'm using something that mimics a micron. So anytime I do lettering, I usually ink it a couple different times, just trying to experiment. So I'm not too worried if anything doesn't come out like totally perfect, because I can fix it, but I'm adding weight as I go. And then once I fill it, it'll be... And you'll also notice I'll make changes and all that kind of fun stuff. Yeah, Danny's like, yeah, product planning is legit. Real worries. Planning helps reduce the worries. Yeah, for sure. And then the last thing, which I think is the most important, why we should just be organizing our time better, just comes down to like being unprofessional. There are so many artists out there, guys. It's crazy. Like, there's like, I feel like a lot of us are probably thinking the same thing for those of us that are 30 and older. It's like, holy shit. If I would have known when I was like 17, 18, that this lifestyle was even possible to like make a living full time as an artist, right? Doing what you love, I would have been doing things differently. I would have made different choices. So that way it wouldn't have taken me so fucking long to get here, right? So there's so many professionals out there. There's a lot of competition now more than ever, since everyone thinks they're a fucking, I don't know, marketing guru or social media ninja or other insert stupid cliche about the internet here. I don't know. By the way, anyone who says that, they just aren't. Just don't listen to them. Please don't give them your money, because they couldn't come up with a better title than social media ninja, and it makes them sound like they're 45 and behind the times. But anyways, when you are kind of flying by the seat of your pants, you're going to miss deadlines that are important. Deadlines for prints, deadlines for exhibitions, deadlines to rent a booth at a fair, deadlines for your clients. And those are the parts of your business that are the most important. So we really need to be taking more priority over all of the things on our to-do list, so we can make sure we're being on point with the things we're getting actually paid for. Because at the end of the day, like, it really just comes down to money. If you are not planning your shit, you are not going to make as much money as you want. And I think for me, that's like the main thing. I feel like I can sometimes like cut corners on my productivity. It's like, oh, I want to do this, but then shiny object comes and I'm like, oh, but I can make more money doing that. But I have to remember that in the long run, I'm actually hurting myself and I'm not going to be making more money. It just feels like I'm doing more because I'm literally adding more things to my to-do list instead of just finishing the things that were there beforehand and then taking any ideas and kind of putting them on the waiting list for when I have availability to do them. So, well, Dina, okay, I get it, all right? This is why I should be planning, but how do I start planning? What do I even do? How do I prioritize my time? How can I make sure the things that I am spending my time on, I'm actually going to get paid for in the long run, right? Well, with this all being said, I think we have to be more realistic with our expectations of ourselves. And we really need to recognize the difference between being inspired by somebody on social media and feeling intimidated by them. Because I often feel like that's the first thing, right? Realizing I don't have guides. I should probably put guides on here. So all my letters are the same height. Just saying. I feel like that's probably a good thing to do. But yeah, so we have to make sure that we're just on point, right? All right, so tips. Oh wait, no, this is why I can't draw and talk at the same time. I'm gonna try. I think it's a cool idea. God damn it. I thought inking would be like less hard, but I'm so like used to giving workshops that I just want to tell you everything that I'm doing versus just like passively drawing as I'm talking. All right, Dina, I'm gonna focus. I'm gonna go full screen for a second because this is a really important part. We need to be realistic with our expectations. We're being influenced too much by other people on social media, and we're feeling bad about ourselves often before we even pick up the pencil. And motivation is something that you do not want to fuck with. Being inspired is hard. But the good news is we can train our creativity to be, let's say, inspired mode on if we just use our creative muscles in the right way. And a lot of that has to do with routine, knowing what your cap is. Like, this is how many hours I want to work. I'm not going to work more than this. I know I'm going to be a crazy, annoying lady if I fucking go over this maximum amount of time. I'm going to be an asshole to my family, and they don't deserve that, right? While also trying to get shit done that's actually going to get you paid. But it's like things like anxiety in social media and people we've never even fucking met in the real world, but yet for some reason they still have a hold over how productive we are or not. So I know you've heard this before, but I don't think it's enough to just like hide your phone when you want to be productive, because you're still thinking about it. It's really, you need to be changing your mindset to make sure if you're following someone on the internet that makes you feel bad, there's no inspiration, there's no appreciation. It's just like, I know you're fucking talented, but every time I look at your feed, it makes me feel like a piece of fucking garbage on fire in hell under Satan's butt. Like, just like low of the low of the low of the low. You need to start unfollowing those people. And I have a few people in my life that make me jealous. I can't even tell you. And every time I see their work, it just makes me feel bad about myself, even though I know that's on me. But for me, it's easier just to kind of get those people out of my life for at least a little while, so that way I can focus on me, because me focusing on what everyone else is doing isn't exactly going to increase my productivity. Now, is it? So, tips for staying organized. All right, so this is pretty obvious, but I would love it if you guys could write some of these down. So, you need to find a day of the week that every single Monday, every single Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Yes, Dina, those are all the days of the weeks. I know, but I wanted to be extra specific. Where you're going to be creating a digital to-do list of what you're going to be doing that month or that week. I think this is really, really important. And I know a lot of people were kind of complaining earlier. It's like, Dina, well, I get stuck in the planning phase too much. Well, you have to create a cap for yourself. Like, if I'm doing planning for the week, I do it in less than 30 minutes. Because if I'm thinking about it longer, that's strategy time. That's not planning time. For the most part, I know what I need to do. I just need to fucking write it down and prioritize my time. Versus being like, well, what are all the things I'd like to do? Like, no, we already have plenty of things that have been on our to-do list for months, or if not years. Let's tackle those things first, and then we can add to it once those things are done. And that's why I feel like I give the impression that I'm able to do so much work in such a short amount of time, because I do so many different projects, but I don't do them all at the same fucking time. Right? Like, week 1, for example, could be like, okay, I'm going to be focusing mostly, like, for me, my lettering adventure scene. And week 2, okay, maybe I'm going to be focusing more on personal work, because I just need a break from the world. I have clients, and I really want to be focusing on my style at least 1 week out of the month, because that's a priority, right, for artists. And then week 3, okay, maybe week 3 is going to be the week that I plan for the rest of the month, my promotional strategy using social media, or my website, or your Etsy, or whatever. And really just blocking out time. Now, I think people take this advice a little too to heart, where they're like literally putting into their Google Calendar, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m., I'm gonna do this. 1 p.m. to 3 p.m., I'm gonna do this. anytime I've personally ever tried doing that, it's always blown up in my face. And I feel like more of a failure than I did before I tried to block my time in that specific incremented way. So that's just one thing I just don't think that works. So, and I also recommend you have digital to-do lists versus actually like having paper or, you know, a post-it note or something with your what you're going to be doing that week. Because that shit can get lost, man. And I notice sometimes when I do, because I have, like, my fucking computer is completely covered in sticky notes right now, but when I actually write them down, I very rarely, like, look at them. It's really just, like, a close reminder, so if my phone dies, it's there. But you really want a digital to-do list so that way you can easily update it. You don't have to keep, like, throwing away your post-it notes because your priority list has changed from Monday to Wednesday or something like that. Just being able to feel fluid with your scheduling. And it's like, okay, if I didn't do it on Monday, I'll just push it to Tuesday. And then that way, if something you had Friday needs to be pushed to next week, then that's totally fine. Because you're prioritizing your to-do list throughout the week. So if you have a client project, you want to work on your personal style, and you need to work on your social media strategy, obviously, towards the beginning of the week, you're going to be working on the client work because that shit pays your rent. Right? The second most important thing is promoting yourself. If you're not working with clients, right, you're not getting paid. So even if you are busy and full to the brim with client work, you still need to make sure that you're putting content out there consistently so you can get more work when that client job ends. Instead of just, oh, I don't have any client work right now, let me spend all my time promoting myself. No, don't do that. Promote yourself consistently. You just have to make time for both. And then at the tail end of that, okay, my leftover hours for the week are going to be like, hey, I'm working on my personal work. I'm doing this just for the fun of it. I'm exploring my style. I'm just trying to grow and have fun as an artist because you obviously need to make time for yourself. Because a lot of us don't just do this whole art thing because we want to make money. We do it because we legit enjoy it. But if you take the joy out of it, you're going to quickly realize that you're going to be quitting on projects you're never finishing. You're never proud of the work that you're putting out. And you just feel like a total fucking imposter and you have no idea what the fuck you're doing. So you feel those things seriously for a fucking reason. All right? So to-do lists are important. I use something called Todoist. It's free at the moment, but I think they're going to be changing their pricing. I got some email that I was like, about. There's also like notes, right? Just use notes in your phone or Evernote or something like that. I like to-do lists because I can easily just like show it. I don't want to open on my computer because I feel like it'll break my computer. But it's like a little red icon with white check marks. If you guys want to check it out in the App Store, it's available for your mobile and for your desktop device. I really like it. You can set priorities. There's like little flags. And there I can set a specific time. I can have a recurring to do. It's just really nice. So that way I'm not forgetting like, oh shit, I have to record an interview today with Women of Illustration guests. And I also have 2 business meetings with 2 potential clients. Oh, and I also need to post something on Instagram for next week. Like, it's so easy to forget shit. And just to have something that just recurs like every Tuesday or every 2 weeks or something is like fucking life-changing for me. Seriously. Dawn, I'm so glad you said that. She's like, fucking unfollow is the healthiest thing that I've done. You gotta do it sometimes, man. Alright, so obviously aside from having a to-do list, I feel like that's kind of like, no shit, Dina. Of course I need to fucking create a to-do list. That totally makes sense. But you also need to be tracking your time. A lot of people, they'll start to track their time and then they don't actually like follow through. It's really important, especially if you're just starting out in your business, to know how long things take you to make. I'm at the point where I only track my time if I'm being paid by a client, so that way I can make sure that the amount of time that I'm spending on the project, I'm not going over the scope, so I don't feel like I was taken advantage of with that client, you know what I'm saying? I really like how thick this brush is. It's going to look really cool and kind of scratchy when I'm done. I'm kind of excited about it. But so, when we're trying to figure out how long things take, it's not just like, once you've figured it out, like, hey, it takes me about this much time to do client onboarding, answering email questions, getting them through your proposal. Okay, it takes me about this much time to plan my social media strategy for the week. And then you just kind of know, and then you can create boundaries for yourself. But without actually knowing how long things take you, oh, you're going to have a hard time. And you're just going to be constantly disappointing yourself because you're always going to think things don't take as much time as they do. You always tend to be a little optimistic, right? Because you're like, oh, how cool would it be if I got this and this and this done and people reacted it to this way and I made this kind of sales. And you're thinking too much about the end result. You're not thinking about all the steps you need to be taking in order to get that end result. You have to go backwards. Figure out the goal. Like, hey, I want to make this much money this month. Okay, well, how are you going to make that much money? Well, I need to make this much money in sales. I need to make this much money in client work. Or what other ways, like advertising, other things that you guys might be having going on. And then you're like, okay, in order to get that many clients, in order to sell that many products, what do I need to do? What is my promotion strategy? Right? And you're like, oh, well, I promote mostly on Instagram, or I think I'm going to use my blog a little bit more this week. Okay, what works the best for blogs? SEO. Maybe I should read more about SEO and write a really good keyword-rich article that's super relevant to my exact audience. Boom! A tangible thing to put on your to-do list that will help your bottom line at the end of the month. So that's the way we need to be thinking. You have to track your time to make sure you have time to do all those things in order to pay your bills at the end of the month. So that way, if you do go full-time freelance, you don't have to crawl back to your fucking day job like 3 months into it and all your savings are fucking gone because you didn't know how to fucking track your time. Can you tell that I'm talking from experience? Can you see it in my eyes? It's like, don't be like me. Don't make the mistakes that I've made. I didn't track my time for like 4 years. 4 years. I'm like, I'm a full-time freelancer and I got it all fucking together. It wasn't until like 2 years ago that I started using a program called &Co. It's the word and then co. It's totally fucking free. Everyone Google it right now. They're not paying me to say this because it's a free fucking program. And you can do your invoices, your proposals through them. You can track your time. You can have to-do lists, exactly what we're talking about right now. And they have an in and out feature, so you can actually have notifications every single time money leaves your account and goes into your account. So you actually know if you're in the red this month, which means you're at a loss for your business. You're in the black, which means you broke even. Or you're in the motherfucking green because you made that profit and enough to live off of. Fuck that ramen every night, right? That's super important. Okay, so definitely check it out. &Co. I've been telling people from my social media class about this program. It's amazing. Please check it out. Please, please, please check it out. Please check it out. So Nancy's saying, so more along the lines that when it comes to client work, I just work and work and work until it's done. Boundaries? What are boundaries? We're going to get into that. I'm excited about it, actually. Ooh, Lisa, all about that &Co. Yeah, it's super awesome. I'm a big fan. It's funny because, like, it was money, like, not that long ago, but then &Co. But then Fiverr bought it, of all fucking companies, which for me would have been a super, like, turn off. Like, ew, Fiverr, the place where you rape artists and take advantage and ruin the fucking industry as a whole with your $5 logo. Rah! Like, no, I will never use that software. But because I was using it before Fiverr bought it, and it was such a great program, and it was only $10 at the time. So when they made it free, I was like, all right, Fiverr, I see you. You're trying to get some good PR. I'm a fan. Thank you for this free software. I really appreciate it. So I was like, I need to stop being such a dick to companies, man. All right, so, Tina, that sounds great. Make a to-do list. Awesome. Track your time. Heard it. This is the game changer. Are you ready? All right. Document things as you go. We all suck at this. This is why a lot of us haven't updated our portfolios in 3 months. This is why we don't show that many of our process. This is why we don't know what case studies are. This is pretty much the fail of our lives. And it's so easy. Like, in order to do good marketing for your business, you really need to be planning ahead and just making content. Content. I say it like a ghost so you remember. Content. Just violently shake my whole body. Ah! Okay. Sorry, it's Halloween yesterday, so I'm still in that mode. So we make content by taking photos, by writing articles, by doing live streams like this one. There are options. But what we're not doing is documenting the process as we go. So let's use a client project as an example. Let's say you are doing a kick-ass fucking t-shirt, right? For a lifestyle brand. So, they got the deposit, they send your proposal, you're ready to go. You got 2 weeks to get to bang out this fucking sweet ass fucking t-shirt. Okay, so now we got the burps out of the way. Now I can be honest. Stage 1, you're going to do some thumbnails, right? You're going to do some rough sketches. Why not take pictures of those sketches? Whether or not they're scans or you're actually like a picture with like you holding a pencil with your iPhone or your fucking whatever camera phone, taking a picture, putting on social media, right? Because the big thing that I was sharing in my social media class is so many of us only post static photos, but what we really need to be doing is showcasing more of our process. Not only is it fucking another excuse to post something on the internet, right? But it's also a way for you to prove your value as an artist. Showing clients and consumers and customers, this shit takes time. I am not a printer. I have to do multiple iterations. I fucking refine till no one's business. I perfect, if you're a lettering artist, like making sure all the curves are right. If you're an illustrator, making sure the color scheme's right, the subject matter is on point. Often the first thing you do, the first thing you draw is not the illustration you end up with. It takes time. So by showing multiple concepts and by showing these process shots of like the pencil sketches is only going to help you, right? More content, and it makes the clients know how you're worth every fucking penny of their money, right? So if we document things as we go, we're helping our fucking Etsy shops and our online shops, so we can actually show not only mock-ups of our art being used in real life, but how we made it and a little bit more of the story behind why we made it, because that's often what people connect with the most is why you made something versus, hey, that's pretty. Like, give me, like, what's the story behind it? And being able to talk about that with a beautiful picture of your process is perfect. And not only that, especially with client projects, you want to make sure that you're staying on task with the goals set forth by the client. And I'll actually do things where I'll take a picture of every part of my process and I'll write a little bit about it. Maybe like a paragraph, nothing too crazy, like fucking 4 sentences, like not a big deal. Where I'll go ahead and, all right, I worked on thumbnails today. I chose, thumbnail 4 and 6 because of XYZ. It accomplishes this goal with this audience. It's more readable. So that way I'm backing up my design decisions, right? I'm not just like, hey, this one's prettier. Or, hey, this one's cooler. What do these words mean, guys? These are not good words. We need objective vocabulary, not subjective vocabulary, especially when working with clients. Because that way, if you're working on a client project, the client comes back to you saying like, oh, I don't like this, I want a revision, and they want to make a bad design decision that is going to affect the overall appeal of the work that you're making, then you have a reason to back it up. You wrote it down already. It's like, oh, this is actually much easier to read from smaller sizes if we leave it at this size. If I make your logo bigger and make the, let's say the phrase or the art smaller, it might confuse readers or it might confuse your audience, and it would deter away from the actual purchase, which is going to lose you money. And also, when you're advertising it on things like social media and Twitter, you're seeing those images at such a small size already, and I'd hate to spend $2,000 trying to create this hand-lettered phrase that people can't even read because I made your logo too big. No fucking client is gonna be like, that's stupid. I hate making money. Like, as long as you back up your reasonings, and I find it's easier to remember why we made certain design decisions if we just document our process as we go. And also, this is good for not just client work, creating your own products, doing personal work, sharing with your audience and your followers why you made something, your process, the materials you use, kind of giving us a little bit more in the goddamn captions, people. I want to learn from you. I want to connect with you. And that is very, very hard to do when it's just like, sparkle emoji. This is what I made today. Like, fuck you. Please. Like, I'm trying so hard to connect with you, and why do you have to make it so hard? Like, no. So, all right. Document as you go. I always like to recap every time I finish one. Track your time with like Anko and use a digital to-do list. But wait, there's more. All right. This is so important. So this actually goes and coincides with documenting your process as you go. Regardless if you have a dedicated office for your art or you're currently at your kitchen table, you need to set up a space that you're always going to have your photography, right? You need to have a setup for photography. Whether, hey, this is just where my light boxes always live, and this is where, my backdrops are, and it's going to take up a little room. even if it's something like, hey, you could just put it all in a box and put it in the closet when you're done, but at least having it all in the same spot so you don't have to, it's not all scattered over your all over your office. I find photography one of the most important parts of being an artist, which is so fucked up. It's not so much the art itself, but how you document it. And I'm not saying like quality of, camera angles and, making sure ISO levels are perfect or having to get like a DSLR camera. That's not what I mean. I mean just being able to have an organized process for taking photos of your artwork, because people need to understand how to use your art. Whether it's like, hey, what should I hire you for? And I just see a bunch of static images, that doesn't paint a picture for me. But if I see it on a t-shirt, all right, now you're painting a clear picture. If I see it printed and framed in someone's bedroom, now I understand that you sell posters. So it's really the photography that frames how I should give you money. So if we don't have a dedicated kind of photography setup, you're going to be scrambling every time you need a picture. And then you're going to be compromising those pictures as you go. And they're going to come out shitty as fuck. And promotion is the number one way you're going to get paid. So why is that the part that you're slacking in the most? Danny's just like, oh, so true. She has to plan days for photo days because she moves her desk. And yeah, you have your set backdrops and your crap. Her biggest headache right now is photography. I feel that so hard, dude. But it really does help. If you just have the same place, like I literally have this desk behind me, and I know you can't see my hand, but it's like right there, where I just have this desk that was originally my like traditional drawing desk because it has an easel, but now what I do is I just have a table that's in front of my window because that has the most light. I live in Portland. It's very dreary the majority of the time. Let's just say it's dreary as fuck right now and my lighting is not the best. So I have set up, my lights right here underneath the desk. I have all my backdrops, right? I have all my camera stuff, my lenses and my tripod and all that stuff right here. So at the end of the day, every single day, if I made something that needs to be documented, I just go from this desk to this desk and I make those photo shoots happen. Yes, I'm lucky. I've recently hired my boyfriend to help me a lot with this stuff, but we actually have different opposing sleeping schedules. Like, I think he may have just woke up right now. To give those of you in the future reference, it's almost 7 o'clock at night. So he's not always there to take the pictures for me. So often it's me with my phone, trying to take pictures with one hand while like pretending to put my right hand in the shot, drawing my process piece in the other. You make it work, but it's nice when it's all together and you have a set time of week or day that you're always taking pictures. Guys, so important. Please heed my advice. It's such good advice. Don't make the mistakes I've made in my life. All right. I'm having so much fun. Are you guys enjoying this weird format of me drawing as I'm talking? I hope you do. Okay. Last but not least, tips for staying organized is stick to the same routine and process every day. I feel you. Like, this is so hard for me. Like, honestly, just doing, you're gonna find this so sad. Just doing these live streams at the same day every week. Yes, today is Thursday. They are normally on Wednesday, but yesterday was Halloween. And I was like, I'm gonna watch Sabrina until 2 a.m. I got plans, right? I was like, I'm not fucking doing a live stream. So this is the exception. But it took me so long to finally commit. Like, hey, Wednesdays are my live stream days, and I'm not going to deter from them. And if I do, it's only going to be postponed a day or two if it's, happens to be on a holiday. And I actually chose Wednesdays because the majority of holidays I find are on Mondays or Fridays. So I was like trying to pick a day where there were holidays. God damn you, October! And it was so difficult for me. I always felt behind. I was never ready, like the day before. Like, to do this live stream today, I had to do some stuff in advance, right? I had to go ahead and write my outline. I have it right here that I'm reading from. Just to give you, just do bullet points. This is pretty much what I plan. It takes about an hour, mostly because it's just from my own experience, so it's a little bit easier. Then I had to go ahead and set up the live stream. Then I went ahead and was like, oh, I'm also gonna make some art while I talk, because I like to, speaking of trying to be productive, because I like to do multiple things at the same time, and I think it'd be fun. So I had to start the sketch, right? So it's just like because I have this set time in my schedule, I am so much better prepared to do all the little baby steps to get ready for that thing that is happening every single week. Now that might be for you, like maybe you have like this weekly thing you do on Instagram, like a giveaway or a new product release or like an art audit. That's the wrong word. Auction. An art auction, or you do a live stream with a guest, or you do something. It's because people, you don't want to break expectations. And it's so much easier for people to remember if it's just like, oh yeah, Dina makes a new live stream every Wednesday. Oh yeah, so-and-so has an art auction every Friday. Oh yeah, Good Type Tuesday always does a new prompt every Tuesday. Seeing a pattern? Yes! Yes! I hear something about bagels. All right, I'm here. Lisa's like, backdrops, that's what I need to spend time getting together. Yeah, I feel you on backdrops. And also, don't forget about UGC. UGC stands for user-generated content. So if you have a product like enamel pins or stickers, I highly recommend doing a giveaway campaign. Like, hey, awesome followers. Typically, the people who are going to respond to these aren't going to be other artists, but that's good because other artists typically don't buy art. Unless it's their own art or someone who's like way more talented than they ever could be, for the most part. I mean, I've obviously buy other artists' artwork all the time, but I found in my experience that's not typically the demographic you want to be going for. Is pretty much what you do is you give out a couple freebies, right? Free stickers, free enamel pins. And then in exchange, they go ahead and they take a picture of it in their home and they try to stage it pretty nicely. Most people can take a pretty decent photo using just their camera phone if given the right art direction. So that's something I'm actually doing right now with my posters. So if anybody here in my live stream, if you got those camera skills, just a little bit, you don't even need that many. As long as you know what lighting is and you don't have that weird, ugly yellow hue to your photos, I will literally give you a free poster if you just take pictures of it and send it to me. Like, they're $25 each. If I give you 4 posters, that's $100 that I'm paying you, technically, to go ahead and just send me a photo. You know what I mean? So it's like, that's so much easier. So that way I don't have to worry about like backdrops and all these background things for photography because I'm relying on other people to take pictures. Yes, it's, it costs money for product, but in the end, it makes sense for me because it's an extra piece of content I don't have to work on. So I can work on other things like this, like, making a better live stream or making another product or something else that'll make me money, taking on another client. Or just having a fucking breather and watching another fucking season and binging it at the middle of the day and not feeling guilty about it. Right? And to me, that's worth a fucking free poster. And it's also a nice testimonial and a nice review of your content on Instagram that you could easily, embed on your website underneath your products for more social proof. And so there's ways. I got all the tips, guys. Oh, okay, now I see the bagel. She's like, I'm really good when it comes to my daily bagel. That's great. Danny says she has a hard time with consistent work vibes at home since she has 2 side jobs. It actually really F's with her art energy. Yeah. Especially if you have multiple jobs, it's going to be harder for you. And I consider being a parent a job. Like if you have kids, you have 2 jobs, regardless if you have a day job, a kid, and you're doing art in your spare time, that's 3 jobs. Like that's really hard. And one of those jobs could potentially kill someone. I'm talking about the baby one, not necessarily like what you do in your, I don't know how dangerous your day job is. But anyways, like there's high stakes, right? Not being able to take care of your family, hurting your family. Like we need to make sure our priorities are straight, but you have to figure out what works best for you. Try something this week. And if it doesn't work, refine it and tweak it for next week and just continually keep tweaking it. Don't just keep trying crazy things and not really looking back to see if they worked or not. Just hey, and we're going to get into it in a second. I don't want to get ahead of myself. We're almost at the part where you guys are going to be like, yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. Oh, about the poster thing, just DM me on Instagram. You know where to go. Letter shop. You know. Okay. Rebecca's saying same, but it's hard because my nannying schedule varies so much. Yeah, if you're doing another freelance type gig, with the days and hours she has to work, I just been trying really hard for your days off. Yeah, I get that. I mean, some people here might only have 5 to 10 hours to work on their art business a week. And if that's all you have, that's fine. But don't plan for 10 hours and expect to get 30 hours of it because that's not how time works. And most likely the 10 hours of work you're going to try to be getting done is not all going to be fun art production, especially if you're trying to make money from your art. If you're just in that beginning phase of like figuring out your style and just like starting an Instagram and having fun with it, totally. Yeah, just fucking just make those 10 hours super focused on just practicing your craft and getting better and posting it. That totally makes sense. But like, you'll get there, it'll just take you longer. But the good news is, because, you know, you're scheduling your time, if you only have those 10 hours, at least you're doing something. Because I know a lot of us resonate with the fact that, like, we plan to do all these art things, and then we don't do fucking any of them. Like, we just watch TV, or we hang out with friends, or, you know, the kids demand more attention that week or month. A new job opportunity presents itself, something, and we don't end up doing that thing. And that's the one thing I want to really, really make sure no one does. If you are not currently, if it's been 2 weeks since you've drawn something, you are not an artist. I hate to break it to you. An artist is someone who practices their craft every single fucking day, whether or not you get paid for it or not. An artist is someone who draws. If you do not draw currently or have not drawn anything in a while, you are no longer an artist. You've lost that title. And that's all that I want to make sure that you keep, is that title. Regardless if all you have is 20 minutes a day to work on your art, at least you're still doing it. And that's so much more than what other people can say. Please keep that in mind. Even though you think you might be sucking at life right now, there's so many more people that suck. Their life sucks so much harder than yours. And they're trying to do the exact same thing that you're doing. So don't feel bad about yourself. You only feel bad because you're surrounded by people who are projecting the only best version of themselves on the internet. And that's often a total fucking lie. Yeah. Kiddos equals 100% job. Yes. Oh, you actually have 150 high school students too? Super fun. Digging it, guys. All right. Let's get into the formula. Are we excited? This is the moment you have all been waiting for. And then we're also going to be reviewing a couple questions I got on Patreon. And we're going to be doing a critique if we have time, which I don't think we will because we're almost at an hour. But that's okay. I'll hang out with you guys a little longer than I normally do. The other day I was trying to think of like, are my live lectures too long? And I'm like, no, they're not. They're too short. That's definitely what it is. Okay, so formula for getting shit done. All right, what have we learned up to this point? I like to, you know me, I like to repeat myself. I'm like my mom. I'm annoying like that. All right, you need to organize your time because you don't want to be a fucking failure. You don't want to burn out. You don't want to do too many things at once because then you'll suck at everything. You don't want to have to wait the last minute to get shit done that you're actually getting paid to do, and you don't want to miss deadlines or seem unprofessional in any way because there's another artist who will be more professional and take your spot in a fucking heartbeat. All right? Tips for staying organized is you got to plan at the beginning of the week with a digital to-do list. Every Monday, I'm all about planning. I even have in my to-do list, plan to-do list every Monday. It's literally like if something is not in my calendar or in my to-do list, it does not fucking exist. And I will not remember to do it. You guys got to track your time. You guys can use programs like Anko to see how long things take you so you can estimate your time appropriately. Document as you go. Or selecting a day of the week that you're always, surrounding your photography around. So it's like, hey, I made a piece, let me take a picture and put it in a Google Doc. Or, hey, I made a bunch of pieces this week, let me use Fridays to do a photography shoot of all my new products and pieces. And if you're the kind of person who likes to make those beautiful little flat lays with the flowers and the pencils and the mugs, cool, be that person. Just, it's easier to take 50 photos in an hour than trying to take three photos of one thing, because all the setup takes time, and then you only got 3 photos, and like, you can't even post those 3 photos at the same time, so like, what are you doing? All right, we have to stay organized with our photography. That's really important, and sticking to a routine in the same process every single day. Now, I know the same process for a lot of us is like all over the place. It's flexible with your day job or your other responsibilities, but try to do the best that you can. There are some of you out there who are full-time freelance right now and you do not have a set routine and you have no fucking excuse. I'm saying this because I didn't have a set routine. And that's what I thought about it. And it was very disappointing. So, you guys ready for this daily process? Are you ready? Are you ready to figure it out? Dawn's coming in with, do you have any tips about posting iPad progress? I feel like I get stuck there a lot because I'm using my iPad. Girl, look at my grid. in my experience, so it depends. Like a lot of people like, if you're using Procreate, you can do the time lapses showing your work. That's really popular. And people, sometimes like video content more than other kinds of content, but definitely beta test how static images versus video content do in your feed before you spend too much time on them. But Procreate does it by itself, so it's literally no extra time. You just hit export and post and you're good. But if you're currently in the process and you're working on your iPad, then just do what I do, where I literally take a picture of my hand drawing on my iPad, and I'll focus in on the piece that I think is the most interesting. Like if I'm doing a babe meme, right, then I'm going to make sure that it's probably going to be zoomed in on her face. Or if I, just got done with a lettering piece, I'm probably going to go ahead and show exactly what I'm probably doing right now, which would be, hey, this is my pencil sketch underneath, like minus all the guides, and like put my pen close to where I am in my lettering phrase, and then post that. Because it's like, hey, this is a process shot. So that's what I actually enjoy people who take pictures of their iPad, because the light is coming from the iPad. You don't even need really nice natural light in order to take a good photo. It's really, really awesome. You actually just need low light, and you just turn the brightness all the way up on your iPad, and it's going to make the art the focal point of the picture, regardless, because there's light in the art. So definitely recommend doing that. Okay, you guys are ready? I'm excited. All right, everybody write this down. I already had and asked you guys these questions on Patreon, which I will pull up right here. I'm going to take a break from drawing for a bit. Look how far I got. I got so far. If you guys are interested to see what this piece looks like when I'm actually done with it, please consider following me on Instagram. I share a lot about myself on there, probably a little bit too much. My jokes, my dark humor, my vulnerability, my dealings with social anxiety and body positivity. And of course, I like to curse a lot. Fuck shit, pussy, farts. I know farts isn't a curse word, but people should say it more. Okay, I'm so excited. This is the main event. This is what we've been waiting for. All right, Gina's quickly saving her Photoshop document. Okay, it's saved. Cool. All right, now she's going to pull up Patreon. What will she talk about? What is the whole purpose of this entire live stream? Has she just been pulling our legs this whole time? Does she have an intention? Yes, she does. All right, so if you follow us on Patreon, which I hope, those of you that are here in the live stream, of course you're patrons. You're the only ones that get access to these videos. And as a quick shout out, hey guys, if you're watching this in the future, please remember to subscribe on YouTube, so that way you get a notification every single time that I do a live stream that's free, or I go ahead and just have a new video that's available for your viewing pleasure. But if you would like to ask me personalized questions, if you would like coaching, you need feedback, you need critiques, you wish you didn't feel so fucking lonely being an artist, because I feel fucking lonely as hell, I'll tell you that right now. And it's so nice to be able to share ideas with people, get feedback, and especially when you're talking to a professional that hopefully you think I'm cool enough to be your friend in real life. And I'm a very harsh critic, but I will only ever give you ideas that will improve your art, and I will never just be like, this is garbage. It's very much like, oh, well, this, like, what if we try this? Or what if you included that kind of person? And if that sounds cool to you, definitely consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/lettershop. I make workbooks, I do live streams, I give advice and one-on-one coaching. Anyways, let's talk about it. All right, so I had this post. Look how cute. He's looking at a lollipop and Halloween. Okay. All right, so here are some questions I want you guys to be focusing on. What do you procrastinate the most with? This is all leading up to something grand, all right? What do you procrastinate the most on? This is typically what you hate to do the most. You're just like, I'm not feeling it. We got a couple answers, all right? So one person said getting started is just straight up what she has the hardest time with. She ends up scrolling through Instagram, looking at Behance, feeling like she never really got there, and she feels just really horrible about her own work and shop. Now, I was starting to give her advice, and I was like, oh, I'll just do it during the live stream, which is really, typically the thing that you hate the most is probably what you suck at the most. That just makes sense. Things that you're good at, like, it's fun because you know what you're doing, and it's a little bit more comfortable, right? But if you're procrastinating on something, that's your first inkling that something's wrong here. So for this particular example, where it's like, I just have a hard time starting, I recommended, okay, you need to stop looking at inspiration, because I definitely was that person where I felt like I couldn't draw something unless I was on Instagram or Pinterest or Behance or something like that. And then I realized that I was stealing other people's work, and it was over influencing my artwork. And it took me so much longer to find my style because I was using everybody else's style. Now, the majority of my work, you wouldn't be able to look at it and be like, oh, she stole that from so-and-so. But you end up mixing all these pieces together. Like, I like this type style. I like this, you know, as a lettering artist, like this composition. I like these kinds of accents, this kind of color scheme. And then I realized nothing that I was creating was original art. At that point, I wasn't an artist. I was a production monkey. And I was feeling the exact same way I did when I was a graphic designer, where I was just pushing other people's work and other pixels and other typography together in order to make art. Where the whole point of me wanting to be an artist was to make something that's never fucking existed before, to draw from my own imagination. So if you're relying on Instagram and inspiration in order to draw, that's a fucking huge red flag. You are doing it wrong. What you need to be doing instead is reverse it. Create from your own imagination first. You have to start somewhere and sloppy, and you got to make something ugly, and you just got to fucking deal with it. The first thing you make is often going to be the worst, especially in the beginning, and just fucking deal with it, right? You just have, like, there's no other better advice. You have to push through the shit in order to get to the gold, all right? So if you're, you know, starting with really small with thumbnails or something like that, then once you have like a pretty decent lockup, like some sort of small rough sketch, then go ahead and give yourself a cap of like 30 minutes. Okay, I'm only going to look at Instagram for this long. There are timers, there are apps out there to help you with this. Apparently the upgrade for my iPad just natively showed up in the widget that I found this morning, where it's calculating how much screen time I'm using. I'm like, all right, Apple, I see you. Like, all right, I see what you're doing. So like they're already trying to help you out with that, so you can make sure you're not looking at your phone or your computer for longer than 30 minutes when you're supposed to be drawing. And then you're only using other people's work to enhance what you already created, not to create in the first place. And I think that's really, really, really important. And then we had another person who was saying that, wait for it, she procrastinates the most on making tutorials for her patrons, right? And she says something really good. She dreads it because she's going to be switching it up. This is a really good example. Like for me, the thing that I honestly dread the most is creating workbooks. I do not enjoy making lettering workbooks. It has nothing to do with like, hey, I'm going to teach people how to draw something. It's really coming down to opening up InDesign, creating the pages, and doing the layout. And that is why when January rolls around, I'm not going to be doing them anymore. And like, it gets to the point where I procrastinate so much on them that I often deliver them like 2 weeks late because I fucking hate it. It's like, I open up my computer and I just want to die. I'm like, oh, I got something to clean. Oh, do the dogs need to be walked? Like, I'm looking for fucking excuses to not do it. That's a huge red flag that you shouldn't be doing it anymore. And then we had someone else here that was saying, like, they really don't, like, enjoy doing, like, web banners and, like, graphic design projects, so they're not really doing original work. Now, if this is something you're doing in your freelance business, like, don't do that anymore. Like, if you have a choice over what kind of work you create, and you're not enjoying the kind of work that you're currently doing, and you don't have a fucking boss, stop doing it. Like, I know you're going to say, like, but this is how I make money. This is how people know me. The only reason that's the way you make money and that's the way people know you is because that's the only way you've let them know you. That's the only service they think that you offer because that's the only thing on your website. But if you take a pause, right? You do personal projects, maybe do an illustration series, maybe you do a few, and create the kind of work you want to get hired for. Like, then the kind of work in your portfolio, it's going to attract the exact kind of client you want to work with in the first place. But if you know a lot of artists usually have some sort of creative day job. They're a printer. They work on production. They're a graphic designer, right? They do something. Then you don't really have much say. You can ask your boss for different opportunities. The worst thing they can say is no, but for the most part, you're shit out of luck. But I just want us to kind of recognize, why are we not making these a priority in our life? Why are we waiting to the last minute to do these things? And you need to really figure out what that problem is and try to find a solution instead of just being like, this sucks. Every time I do this, it sucks. Well, why does it suck? Do you just need to stop doing it? What could you be doing instead of doing that and still make the same amount of money? Like, really try to think about what's going wrong so you can do more of what feels right. Right, guys? Right? Sometimes I'm like very aware of how cliche all of my advice sounds, but it's super important. Like I know that it's basic and shit and all that stuff, but like I didn't know it. I didn't know any of it for years. And it was so frustrating. I got your back. All right, so figure out what you procrastinate on, right? And I would urge you, the things that you procrastinate on, to be the first things you do on your schedule. This goes against everything I stand for, Tina. What do you mean? Like for me, admin. Fucking admin. I hate it. But it's necessary, man. So for the first thing that I do in my day is I do social media. I make sure everything's cool with my 2 patrons. I check my emails and I check in on Discord where I have my private community of artists that I give feedback to. That's the first thing I do in the morning. The first thing I want to do in the morning is make art, of course. But what I'm doing is, okay, these are the things I procrastinate the most on. So let me just tackle them first thing. So I tackle them first thing, and I work on the things that aren't going to take me that much time first. I do this because I needed an accomplishment high to feel good about myself. I've realized this. It's either I finish something or someone told me that I make good work through validation. Those are the 2 main things that drive me as an artist. Seriously, validation and finishing things. I don't know what else there is, honestly. That's just what works for me. So what I ended up doing is I created a reward system. I start out with the shit that fucking sucks. I get it over with. I'm doing it during my most productive time because my brain is more like awake and ready to do analytics and looking at social media and doing strategizing and all that stuff. So that way I can reward myself later by doing the thing that actually makes me happy, which is art. All right? What kinds of things do you guys in the chat procrastinate on? What kind of things are you fucking like, no? All right, second thing. How many hours per week can you realistically, very, very important, realistically work on your art business? If you're full-time freelance, hopefully it's 40 minimum. Especially if you're within the first year of full-time freelance, it's probably more like 60 or 80 because that's just what you got to do in the first few years of running a business. Ask any fucking business owner. Same things if you run a restaurant, if you run a freelance business. It's really fucking hard that first year. I'm in year 6. It's still hard, but it's way easier than it was in year 1. So I want you to count back and be like, okay, well, how much? Okay, what's realistic? Okay. What could I be doing? How can I get more of this shit done? So that way you have a cap, because again, we were talking about like how burning out is such a bitch, or we feel like we didn't get enough done. If we have a cap and a minimum, we're set. That way, if you're tracking your time, I hit 40 hours and that's as far as I can go. I'm not going to go past 40. Straight up. It's not going to happen. And my minimum to make sure that I'm doing enough and I don't feel like a piece of shit at the end of the day is I make sure I have to work at least 4 to 5 hours a day. There are some days I get my period, me and my boyfriend are fighting, my dogs are sick, I got to run errands that I forgot to run during the weekend, something happens. I have a minimum in my mind that I need to be doing at work, because just because I'm freelance doesn't mean that I'm just free to hang out and party with people all the time, which I wish my friends would understand. And they never do. They just come over at 2:30 and I'm like, what are you doing? I'm at work. Anyways, to where you can still feel good at the end of the day and not feel like you totally fucked up your entire week because you didn't do the long laundry list items you were supposed to do. Yeah, you gotta push through that learning curve. All right, so Dawn was like, okay, she fucking hates learning After Effects or new programs / skills. I feel that. Dude, that's like the main reason I don't use Procreate, because it would take, I spent 3 hours, right? I gave myself 3 hours to learn Procreate. I watched YouTube videos. I bought a class. I was prepared. I was like, 3 hours. All right. And I couldn't figure out how to color something in 3 hours. I was like, nope, I don't have time for this. I'm going to use Astropad. Like, I just can't. I hate Procreate. I don't get it. There's too many, like, finger shit. Call me old. I don't fucking care. I hate that program. I don't get it. It doesn't work for me. So, like, I feel you. They have to learn a new program. That shit's going to take so much time that I just don't got. And it's just not a priority for me. But I know a lot of us have like this shiny object syndrome, especially when it comes to like courses and learning, because like this job requires us to learn all the time. But if you're the kind of person who's like, okay, I like to learn something new every month or every quarter, then like plan out time, dedicated time to do that, or else you'll just make it less of a priority and you'll just skip over it completely. Like if your goal is to be like a motion graphic designer and you don't know After Effects, good luck with that, right? Like it's pretty important. But if it's just like, oh, I just want to learn this and see how it goes, try it for a month. If you still like it, keep learning. But if not, fuck it and just move on to something else. So Nancy's saying starting a project out of fear, feeling overwhelmed. Yeah, definitely. Once you finish something, it feels great. All right, so do we all have an idea of how many hours we can work? Mine is I will not work more than 40 hours. I'm not gonna do it. I typically work 4 to 6 hours a day. So it's usually like 30 to 40 hours for me. And that's because I'm getting older. I'm not in my early 20s anymore. I can't fucking work 20-hour days. If you are young, please hustle your fucking little fanny off. Please, please, please. You probably will hustle it and it'll be all big by the time you're 30. But definitely utilize your hustle 20 years for as long as you can. Because for me, once I was 30, like, oh, my back hurts. Oh, I'm so sleepy at 9 p.m. Oh, I can't multitask as much as I used to. Like, it's fucking embarrassing. I'm like, okay, let's set realistic expectations for Dina in her 30s. Like, fuck me. All right. So, what is the work that drains your soul the most? Now, this might be a little bit different versus what you procrastinate on. There's certain things that just suck the life force out of you. Now, if there's something in your life, relationship, job, service you offer, thing that you're promoting right now that you hate, that it hurts to work on, you need to stop doing it. No excuses. If there's someone in a relationship that makes you feel bad, fucking break up with that person. Divorce his ass. Or her ass. Or their ass. If you don't like your fucking day job, start making some serious fucking plans to quit in the next 6 months so you don't have to be it there anymore and you know, going crazy. Start making a plan so you can feel good. Have a fucking exit strategy. See the fucking finish line. Or else you're just gonna have nothing to look forward to. It's just gonna hurt your fucking soul. Or like for me, doing these zines, like I like teaching. I just don't like making books, man. Like doing the layout. If I had like a graphic designer to do it for me and I just gave them the Photoshop files, that'd be great. I would do that. I don't have the money to do that right now. But, you know, so it's just like, if something hurts, like it's not working. And there's so many ways we can make money. And there's so many ways we can attract people to our brand and get followers and all these things. And life is too short to do shit that sucks to do. And like, I understand paying your dues. I understand like, Dina, I got a job. I gotta feed a family. I gotta do this stuff. Yes, of course you do. But there's still things in your life that you honestly could stop doing. And nothing bad would happen. Like, hey, I'm making this product. I've been making this product for like 6 months. No one's buying it. And I really hate making them. Stop making them. Like, there's a difference between like knowing when is the right time to quit and quitting before you actually got a chance to see if it worked or not. And I think a lot of us have a hard time deciphering between the two. All right. What part of your day you're most productive? This is really important. Some people are fucking night owls and they like to work their full-time job and then come home. The kids are in bed by 8 and they got fucking like 3 blissful hours to fucking work on their art. And that's the time where they're like the most excited to work. And there are other people who are morning people. I don't get you. I don't understand you fucking morning people at all. I don't understand it. Not even a little bit. But some people, they, wake up at like 4 a.m. or they're part of the 5 a.m. club. Fuck that club. They're part of the 5 a.m. club and they'll work for a few hours before they have to go to work. Or if you don't have a full-time job, figure out a schedule with your part-time job that you work like 20 hours a week where you can make sure like, oh, I'm actually really, really awesome after lunch, after I've been fed like 1 o'clock. All right. Make sure you only get the morning shifts at your job. Like, really important to the little time that you do have every week dedicated to your art might as well be the best time. And if you can decide, if you have the power and the to decide what part of the day you can work, you might as well do that versus giving your day job the best of you, which I don't like doing. I always thought it was weird when they're like, you must give us your all, blah, blah, blah. It's like, I'm sorry, employer. Like, my well-being and personal happiness is more important than this job. And it should be. Your kids, your self-worth, this is more important than money. Of course it is. So it's like, any employer that says differently shouldn't be your employer, first of all. And I've met plenty of them, and I've quit lots of jobs. But if you do have a choice, you might as well choose the one that you're most productive. So that's why I'm most productive when I first wake up. Not in the mornings, just whenever I first wake up. When I have my coffee and I'm kind of like most excited about the day because it's full of fucking possibilities, that's when I really focus on my admin, the emails, all that stuff, because I'm able to get it done and out of the way quickly, and then still be able to work on my art stuff kind of more leisurely in the afternoons, after I probably eaten too many carbs after lunch, and that's just kind of my fucking jam, since the majority of my work is about body positivity and anxiety. So that works for me. And the last question is, what is your priority right now? What is your priority? If it's a priority, we need to, again, put that shit at the beginning of your week. If it's to get client work, then you need to be making sure that you're spending time on your admin to design your website and update your portfolio, if that's something that's really important to you. Or to be working on that personal series of personal projects you need to be making in order to attract those clients in the first place. Or if you're really focused on getting new followers on Instagram, you need to figure out who your demographic is and how you should be creating artwork, what kind of artwork you need to be making in order to attract the perfect audience to when you are ready to make products or you are ready to do client work, you already have a following in place that's willing to buy them, right? So just figure out what that priority is and just move it up the line. That's really all it is. And doing it consistently and actually checking with yourself beginning of the week, the day that you plan, and putting that at the forefront and making sure it actually gets done. And then anything that's like less important, put it at the end of the week and feel okay at the fact that it might get pushed the next week. Like the kind of thing like, oh, if I have leftover time, I'll do this. Like I've had shit that I would put and postpone next week. And if I hit postpone on like a personal project for more than a month, then I know that project probably wasn't as important for me to make in the first place. And I really like doing that as well. Because sometimes when you first think of an idea for like a project or something, marketing something, whatever, it's really good in the beginning. You're like, oh, I'm so fucking smart. No one has ever thought about this idea in the history of mankind. Oh, I'm the fucking genius. Like, you know what I mean? And you want to work on it right then and there. But oftentimes I find if I just like wait a week, right, and I put it at the end of my to-do list, I might not like that idea anymore, right? Just be like, I thought about it. I thought it was really good at 2 a.m. when I was making my to-do list to make this one project. But now that it's, been a week, I don't like it anymore. Not so much. I don't know what I was thinking. So sometimes you do need a little bit of time just to know whether or not an idea is a woohoo or a idea. So I'm going to share with you what I do. Are you ready? It's really basic. I'm going to zoom in here. Can I make this bigger? I can! Oh my god, guys, look at this is what I do. I want to center it for you. Okay, there we go. All right. So this is literally my daily process. So out of all of the questions I ask myself, right, I only want to work anywhere for about like 6 to 8 hours a day. That's it. I would never work more than 8 hours a day. So I go ahead and this is my daily routine that I do every single week. What do I like? What's, sucks with the most amount of my time? Social media. And when I check on social, that's like, okay, what DMs did I get? What comments do I need to reply to? And then because I have a set week in my month that I plan my social media strategy, that's not included in here. That's like a different thing completely, but just for argument's sake, yeah, getting all that shit kind of planned, actually making time to interact with the people who follow me, which is really important. People definitely notice if you just talk at people and not with them, and you will lose engagement because of it. I work on my Patreon, making sure same thing, replying to comments, same thing as social media. I do my emails, checking my emails, because I'm really bad at that. Like making sure I'm on my emails. For the longest time, I was all about like inbox 0. I can never have more than 5 emails at a time. It's just too overwhelming. No. No. I will give you an hour at the beginning of my day, emails, and I will give you an hour at the end of the day. Because more than likely, with the amount of emails that I get, which is quite a lot, I'm able to reply within a 24-hour period. And unless it's like a really important client that's paying me hella money, then I will interrupt my day to answer that email. But for the most part, it's usually not that important, right? But I do think client inquiries are the one exception, because that's really will help you get or not get a client project. If you reply within an hour to a client reaching out to you, you're more likely to get that job, because so many other freelancers don't prioritize emails with clients and they don't reach out to them, and then they already fell in love with you by the time those other fuckers fucking reply to the email. So that's the one exception. Client emails. That's the only thing. Not customer emails, not fucking complaints, just client work. Because it's like usually a couple $1,000s. So they do deserve the priority. So I do that for an hour. It's an hour cap, and I give myself about a 15-minute buffer. So if it's like, hey, I started at noon, which is pretty much what time I start work. I started at noon, and then it's 1 o'clock. I can give myself an extra 15 minutes to finish it. But if I don't, then I'm going to wait until the end of the day to finish it, right? Very clear. That way it's not just like, oh, 10 to 11 every day I need to work on this. No, that doesn't fucking work for me. But just saying I'm going to give myself a cap of doing this thing so much easier. And I could have just called this admin, right? I could have just been like, admin, right? Or something like that. But notice that I have 2 sets of admin here. I wanted to be really specific on the things that I'm doing. Just like, no, but social, Patreon, emails, Discord, whatever that is for you. Maybe it's Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Maybe it's replying like to blog comments, whatever, something you have to interact with people on a consistent basis, right? Then I just do what I call boring admin work. And I do that for a cap of 2 hours. Now, I went ahead, and it's so much this week. It's 2 hours because I have so much of it to do. I had to completely design my posters page, which I will show you. Because I just released posters, guys. I just released posters on my website, and I think you might like them. So I made this landing page, my babe meme and cannabis posters. Shop 16 by 12 prints to help you fill your ugly blank white walls. Each design has its own story to keep you high and happy. So I have all my posters. So it definitely took a while to like curate them, figuring out what kind of content I wanted to add on the page, making sure that I actually had like stories and descriptions for each one of my posters, that kind of thing. That took a long time. So I had a lot to do. I also had to make a landing page for my social media course that is going to be launching in just a few, probably like a week or 2. Rick only has to edit like 2 more videos, and then we're done. And then you guys, I can give you all of my insights from the last class that I did, which was a live stream course, like 16 hours worth of content to help you with your Instagram strategy as an artist. And I got some really good reviews for some really awesome students, and you guys can read them aplenty on the landing page. So to get that done. So it's like, because I had so much back-end stuff, like so much marketing and preparing and that kind of thing, it's 2 hours. Most days, this would just be fucking deleted, and I could just focus on personal work or client work or something like that. But because of my week, again, that's why I put it in there. So just because you make this daily process this week, it could change. And that's why I want you guys to be updating this on a weekly basis. Janine's like, I have started to draw first thing because often when she starts with the boring stuff, it takes too long, and then she's too tired and frustrated and art sucks. Yeah, no, I feel that for sure. Like I know plenty of people who do the opposite, where like it just depends on like how your reward system works, right? You can be the kind of person where it's like, okay, I'm gonna wake up, I'm gonna do art first because that's my priority right now. I'm gonna create personal work or client work or whatever. I'm gonna do that, and then until I'm done. That's usually the problem. Like you work on that first, but you don't set a boundary. But there's multiple days in a week, right? And typically your turnaround for client projects should be at least 2 for this reason, where it's like, hey, it's going to be the first thing I work on, but I'm going to stop at noon. I'm going to give myself 4 hours, right? Till noon or till 1 or whenever lunch is for you. And I'm going to work on that. And then when I have lunch, that's the break. And then I work on admin stuff. But I find no matter what, whatever I do in the morning, I'm obviously going to be tired in the evening. Duh, right? Like the more you work in the day, the more tired you get. But because art I can never say this word, rejuvenalizes, it energizes me. I can say that word. Anything with a J in the middle of the word, I'm like, what is that? What is English? It energizes me. So like, even though I might be tired when I first pick up the pencil to go draw the sketch, by the time like 15 minutes into it, I'm reborn. I'm fine. It's just starting that you're like, oh, but once you get excited about what you're making, you're like, this is fun, and having a good time. So whatever works for you. I need a reward system. Like if you want me, like Dina, You need to start working out more. I have to like reward myself with cake or something in order to get it done. Like, oh, I can have one ice cream. I can have one little ice cream bar every day, but only as a reward for working out for at least 30 minutes. You know, like that's how my brain works. I definitely work on a reward system. So I do the admin work and then I do client. Now notice I put different things in here. So it's like, okay, then for 3 hours, now notice this is the biggest chunk of time throughout the day because obviously client work, promotional work, and personal work is a priority. It's something I have to do every week, and I put them in order. Number one, if I had client work, that's what I'm working on, is client work. Then, if I don't have client work to do, then I do promotional work. Now, promotional work would be like, you know, creating the cover of a lettering workbook, or doing a mock-up of a t-shirt, or, you know, doing, you know, photography that I need to do that day for my artwork, anything like that. And then it's personal work is last. So only if I don't have client work, and I don't have any promotional work, then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna draw this piece about how much people who don't drink coffee are demons. Like, you know what I mean? So it's definitely just about setting priorities and actually being specific on your to-do list. Now, I have my to-do list right here, and I just put them in the order of these things, and it's really, really helpful for me. And I'm just marking the hour. Like, I'm not even technically tracking my time with like a time tracker. I'm just like, oh, it's 7:30. So when it's 8:30, I should stop doing social media. Okay, it's 8:30. Now it's 9:30. Now I should stop doing admin, like that kind of thing. And then I always like to wrap up the day with social media and all that good stuff. So I want you guys to quickly give me your top 4. Do what I did, right? Give me the order and give yourself a time cap. Not, again, don't be like 11 to 12 because that's not going to work because it's making you work the same time every day. I just want you to do things in the same order every day. That's all. Just figure out the order that works best for you and how your reward system works. So, and be really specific. Because I know we all have very different goals. As an artist, there's a lot of different ways we can make money. There's a lot of different ways we can talk on the internet, right? And they may change depending on what your goals are. So don't try to copy mine unless we do the same thing. But whatever makes the most sense. So I know we're on Thursday, but if anyone wants to take this opportunity to start planning for next week, be super on the ball and then instead of waiting until Monday, doing it today and really trying to plan like tomorrow, Friday, and then the whole next week, I think would be a really great opportunity to do that. And if you guys, I mean, everyone who's watching here is a patron, so definitely I encourage you guys to be using the Discord chat and going ahead and sharing with the rest of, let's say, the class or the rest of the community, what your priorities are, answering those questions, and really just getting into that daily process. And just really try to bring it down to like just 4 things. I've noticed that if it's more than 4 things, I don't do them. So you have to be realistic with your time. Now, I know a lot of this is really hard to do if you don't know how long it takes you to do things. So you don't know if 3 hours is enough time. You might not know if 1 hour is too much time, but try it. And then again, you're like, oh, I noticed that I actually need an extra hour for personal work. So I'm actually not able to check on my email twice a day. I can only do it once in the beginning of the day. Then that's what you have to do. Don't feel like you're not good enough because you're not meeting up to a standard of somebody else's productivity. And also, please, no one ever measure yourself compared to how productive I am. I do this full time. I've been a professional hand lettering artist for 6 years. I'm very quick. If I wanted to, I could finish an illustration in 4 hours. You know what I mean? So like, don't compare yourself to me, especially if you're in a completely different medium or service. As a hand lettering artist, it's totally different than being a traditional illustrator or watercolor illustrator or fine artist, right? Also, the level of experience is different. I'm going to be quicker than someone who only has a year of experience. And that's often the biggest issue, is we're comparing ourselves against someone who is impossible to be compared next to. People who know a guy who knows a guy, right? People who are just really, like, they already had the experience before they got into design career. And of course, their career, you know, surpassed you because they had more experience, they knew more people, they had it in the industry. And yes, we can get jealous until forever. But we have to be realistic. You know what I mean? There's a big difference between competition and community, and I really think we need to recognize that. Danny's like, I use the trap system. I set traps so it's harder to avoid the harder tasks. I love that. All right, so we're going to wrap up on my final tips of productivity. I know we've been talking for over an hour and a half. This is what happens when I try to do a shorter stream and I try to draw at the same time. Maybe I'll stop trying to draw stuff. Maybe that's what I should do. I tried. I don't know, guys. If you're watching this video in the future, please leave me a comment. Let me know if you thought that was cool or not. All right. Tips for productivity. All right. Pick what you enjoy doing the most and use it as a reward. That's what I do. It works really well. I enjoy doing personal work. I actually do really enjoy doing client work because I've reached a point in my career where I only take on projects that I would have done if I wasn't being paid to do. That's actually part of my core values as an artist. Not everyone has the luxury of being at that point of their career quite yet. So if your reward is food, or your reward is doing a personal project or doing an illustration series you're really excited about, then use that as a reward to do all the other shit that sucks. So that way you can leave the day happy instead of just, so sad. Knock out simple tasks first for motivation, right? If there's something quick, like, oh, I just need to reply to this email real quick, or, you know, I know this will only take 20 minutes to do, or, oh, the link was broken on that website, or something little fixes. Do those first because it'll give you the confidence to keep doing it. I always find that, like, the accomplishment high will actually get me really pepped to do the next thing. So I try to get all those, like, 15-minute things out of the way, so that way I feel more productive by the end of the day because I technically checked off more things on my to-do list. I need to, like, psych myself up for that kind of stuff. Always try to give yourself time and give yourself a buffer. So if you're, you know, quoting a client project, please give yourself at least anywhere from a 10 to 25% time buffer. Always. Because I've actually given a refund to a client because I didn't use all the hours. And that's because I only think that's fair. Where it's like, hey, if I need more hours to go outside the scope, you have to pay more money. So I'd rather go over and then give a refund than go under and have to ask for more money. So that's kind of how I always thought about the rest of my business, where it's like, okay, if I think this one task is going to take 10 minutes, let me just assume it's going to take 20 minutes. Or if I'm going to do, you know, this illustration and I only have 3 hours for it, like maybe I should give myself 4 hours for it, just in case. So that way I find myself always on the up and up instead of being constantly disappointed by my low ball estimations of how long things will take, especially if you're in a position where you do not know, you have no fucking idea how long things take because you've never tracked your time before. I want you guys, this is an obvious one, but we have to keep reminding you to do it because a lot of us don't do it, which is close your fucking email and your social media during production. If you're not working on social media, I have to take my phone and I have to put it in another room. I can't put it on silent. If I put it within arm's reach, I'm going to be like, the second I'm like, oh, Photoshop's taking 10 seconds to load. Oh, how many likes did I get on this piece? No! Like, stop it. Put it somewhere out of arm's reach. Turn your notifications off. Go in airplane mode. Whatever you got to do to make sure you're focused on the one thing. Because then you're not letting your brain experience that flow state. And flow state, and hopefully we've all know what this is, which is you're working on something and hours have gone by and you haven't noticed. You didn't have to pee. You weren't even hungry. You were just so excited about what you were doing. Just fucking crazy chunks of time went by and it felt like only an hour. That's because you're in a flow state where your mind is making all these crazy connections with memories and patterns to make really cool shit. Usually it's production, right? When you're making an art piece. And it's really hard to get to that peak of inspiration if you're constantly being distracted. Even just one simple distraction can take you off that course. And if that's your most productive time, you're just fucking yourself. You really are. You're losing. And I know validation feels good and going on social media and all that stuff and like checking your email, but it's going to deter you from the one thing that you're supposed to be working on, which is actual art. Yeah, phone's gotta go during our time, but it'll take breaks in case I need to take pics. Yeah, for sure. Exactly, Danny. That's what I do. Or like if you're, you know, you have like a digital camera and you have a phone, that's really nice that you can take pictures without using your phone. Like what I'll do, I've actually hidden my Instagram because I love Instagram so much. I love it so much. I have to hide it in my screen. So like instead of Instagram being on my main screen for my phone, it's on the last screen because I have to swipe to get it. So that way, like if I'm opening my email or something, or if I'm wanting to take a picture of a product, I don't feel the need to open Instagram as much. So I have to like trick myself. Okay. Almost done. We're almost done, guys. Okay. For me, I think it's great to use food as a break, not as an excuse. This is really, really important. If you're hungry and your stomach's like, oh, feed me, you need to stop working, regardless if you're in flow state or not, and fucking feed your body. You're an animal. If you don't eat, your quality of life is going to suffer, and that includes the quality of your artwork. So just fucking eat. Just eat something. Now, and also don't use it as an excuse. As someone who's plus size, I like food. Food is very delicious. So what I'll do is I finished this project. I'm not hungry, but I feel like I should take a break with lunch. So let me just go eat lunch. I think that's a huge mistake. Because for me, at least, this is something I've learned about myself, is if I use food as a break and I'm not actually hungry, what I'm going to do is, because I like to watch TV while I eat, because that's society. What are dinner tables? I don't know. Where I will turn the TV on, look for something to watch, I'll start watching something, and I'm not actually hungry, so I'll make food and I don't immediately eat it, and then my break ends up being 3 hours long, and then I never actually got time to finish what I was doing. That's just I don't know if that's the same for you, but I thought if it was relatable to me, it could be relatable to a couple other curvy ladies out there. Danny's like, you have such clever traps. All right. Almost done. Have one passion project at a time. This is something that I don't do, but I highly recommend if you are not full-time freelance. One passion project. Just one, guys. It's really important. Passion project is something you are creating without any proof that it's going to make you money. Because that's not the point. It's a passion project. You're not doing it for money. It could lead to money, right? I did my Babe Meme series. I wasn't expecting to turn them into posters. That wasn't my plan. I just wanted to experiment with a new illustration style and get more comfortable doing portraits since I'm such a traditional hand lettering artist, right? So it's just okay, I'll make some of these Babe Meme things, and if people like them, that's cool, but, they don't have to really like them. And then, I started making more of these things, and people really started liking them, and I kept getting comments hey, can I get a t-shirt with this? Hey, I would really, really love to get this printed on a poster. And I started getting a lot of DMs asking for this kind of art. And it just turned into a way that I could make money, right? So just one passion project at a time, because you never know where it could lead. But I find if we start to position our passion projects as ways to make money, directly, in the beginning, then we kind of set ourselves up for failure, because we obviously have to work on multiple things in order to pay our bills. Most artists need multiple streams of revenue coming into their bank account to make sure that they can pay their bills, because sometimes clients stop calling, sometimes people stop buying products, right? And so if we position our minds, I'm going to make money with this passion project, typically, first of all, you're not going to make money right away, no matter what you're doing. Seriously, no matter what you're doing. Even people who have, I'll use Sophie T. Art, right? She did a abstract 100-day challenge. And this is a girl who did fine art illustrations of animals, and it had all those really cool textures of, the paintbrushes and stuff. And then she just started doing abstract pieces out of nowhere, just as an experiment of creativity. And then at the end of the day, when she finished a piece, she'd go ahead and put it on auction for $250. And the first person to comment and claim that piece got the original. Now, when she first started doing this passion project, yes, money was an added bonus, but it wasn't the main thing. She just wanted to experiment. And the first few weeks she was doing it, not every piece sold. Very rarely did they sell. But she did it so consistently that eventually she just got really, really popular. She's in super high demand for her abstract work. It completely changed the course of her career, right? And now every single time she lists an abstract, it immediately gets sold within a millisecond, because it's so in demand. So I know I just kind of went off topic there for a second, but I love that story. And I think it's good to have one passion project at a time, because if you're focusing on money for that passion project, you're obviously going to have other things that you're going to have to do at the same time in order to pay your bills. So if you have one passion project over here that might make money, and then another passion project over here that might make money, and then another passion project over here, to me, as an audience member, you look like a crazy person, and you're probably really broke, and you're overworked because you're working on too many things at the same time. And I don't know what kind of multitasker you think you are, but you're not. no matter how young you are. I know women are typically better at it, but we're not perfect. It's usually when it comes to like taking care of kids and that kind of thing, not running 3 fucking projects at the same time while running a business. Like, it's fucking hard. Like, so try just to focus on one thing at a time is what I'm really trying to get here. It's like, hey, I want to work on my Babe Meme series, and when my Babe Meme series will end, and I'm actually approaching that right now, and I'm gonna do a cannabis series for a while, and then I'll move on to the next thing. I just think it's really, really important to drill in that we have seasons of passion. Whether or not that season is a week, or it's a month, or it's a quarter. I like doing them in quarters personally. Where it's like, okay, because I think 3 months is a really good amount of time to work on something. And in my experience, every passion project that I did, where I just focused on one at a time, and it was so interesting because like right at that 3-month mark, right, where I'm being really consistent with it, if people weren't starting to give me kind of an inclination that they were wanting to pay me for it, or I decided to sell it and it did, well or whatever, that's when I really knew whether or not I was wasting my time or this could be like the next big thing to pay my rent. So take heed to that. All right, last but not least, I always hate that phrase, but it's so fun to say as like a buffer between breaths. Last but fairly not least, if you feel overworked at any point, stop. Seriously. If your head's getting hot, your Apple Pencil isn't connecting to your iPad and you notice you're freaking out about it a little bit too much, you're losing your cool, fucking stop. I don't care if you only think you have 10 minutes left until you're done. Stop. Get up, leave the place that you are working, and go somewhere else. Go for a walk, go watch a show, pet your dogs. That actually makes you feel better, or cats, whatever you prefer, but dogs are better, sorry. And hang out with your boyfriend, do a little makeout session with your loved one. And that'd be really random, but you won't be thinking about work. Just take a little bit of a break and then come back. Shake it off and then get back to work. That's something I really, really wish I had fucking listened to my own advice a few years ago. Because I would do that. I would be like, oh, I'm starting to get mad. Like, it's always like, that's when my computer starts to fucking freak out and everything goes wrong, or then Instagram's slow, and no matter what I do, I just can't finish this thing. That's a really good time just to be like, I'm not going to break my really expensive computer because I'm mad. I'm just going to leave. Because you know what? There will always be more work tomorrow. Your to-do list is never going to get shorter. It's just going to get replaced with more stuff. So we need to stop putting this burden of productivity on ourselves. And seriously, we have to stop feeling like a failure for not getting enough done. She drops the mic. That's the end of the lecture. I don't know what this is, but I'm excited about this hand movement. Guys, I know that was so much information. I totally did not expect for it to be 2 hours. But productivity, I think, is the kind of topic that cannot be in a listicle that's only 3 paragraphs long on BuzzFeed. I don't think it's a one-size-fits-all approach, and there's lots of options to be productive or not be productive. We're all different. We all have different times of day where we're excited to work. We all have different priorities. But I hope that this very long lecture went over some of the biggest struggles that we have as creatives as a whole, so we can get back on fucking track and get more shit done without feeling like a piece of shit if we don't do the 30 fucking unrealistic things we were trying to do in a day. I struggle with this too. And there's going to be some weeks, my friends, of course, where you're just going to suck, man. Everything you make is shit. You can't do admin. You can't do anything. And that's the world telling you need a break, regardless if you have time for it or not. I'm just going to keep spewing advice to you. Like, listen to your body. It's trying to tell you something. When it's hungry, when it's tired, when it's overworked, please listen to it. It's the only one you're ever going to get. And you're going to want to really protect it as the older you get. You're not invincible, Miss 22-year-old watching this on her phone at 3 a.m. after she just got done drinking and probably won't have a hangover tomorrow. I'm not jealous of you. Please, take care of yourself, physically and mentally. It is your strongest ally in trying to be a professional creative. And so that way you can get paid for doing exactly what you love to do. All All right, that's going to wrap up our live stream. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope it was helpful. Please, if any of this content I'm creating is entertaining, at least, please go ahead, give us a subscribe. Subscribe right there. I wish you guys could just click right here. Just be like, boop, subscribe. But it's over here. It's over there. It's right where Ringo's belly is. Hit that subscribe button. Please comment if you have any questions, or just comment at all. It really helps the YouTube algorithm make me seem like a big deal. If you want personalized advice, or you just want to support me so I can keep creating free content, so I can keep helping you guys, taking big chunks of my day that could be used for personal work to help y'all. I mean, I love doing it, but it's so much easier if I'm making enough money to do it. Please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/lettershop. You can support me for as little as a fucking $1. Seriously, $1 helps a lot. But the best tier for your buck is definitely the $7, where you get access to these live streams. And you also get workbooks. If you like to letter things, you get a new workbook every month. And you get a discount code, so you can buy even more workbooks. It's so beautiful. And then if you go to the $15 level, you can join our Discord chat, where I can give you personalized feedback pretty much whenever you need it. All right, guys. Thanks so much for being my friend on the internet. You're so nice. You're so cool. I really like you. You're really sweet. Bye, everybody. I'm going to leave all awkwardly because I never know how to leave, because I really need to be making a end stream scene, but I haven't yet because I've been too productive. All right, guys. Thanks so much for watching. I will see you later. Bye.